A 2023 study from the Federal University in Brazil and the University College London shows that overprotective parenting can shorten a child's lifespan. That's right, too much control or care can hurt in the long run. But for divorced parents, these differences in parenting styles aren't just academic. They can lead to court battles, massive legal fees, and even worse, communication breakdowns that end up hurting the kids. So there are hidden costs of parenting style disputes. One of the obvious ones that isn't hidden is that disagreements about parenting can often turn into expensive custody litigation. You can spend tens of thousands in legal fees, and it's the kids that get caught between the two extremes. If you've got one parent that's really safety first and the other one is just freedom giving and giving kids autonomy, well, there may be clashes. And the problem is that when judges step in, well, one parent might feel penalized and the other one might feel micromanaged. So I want to discuss what the study actually found. They studied nearly 1,000 kids into adulthood and followed them for a number of decades. And it showed that overprotective fathers led to a 12% higher risk of early death, meaning before the age of 80, for women. It had a 22% higher risk of early death for men. Now, then they looked at maternal care, and that provided a 14% reduced risk, but only for the women. And it was interesting, they also did, as part of this study, that men who only had a single parent had 189% risk of early death. And so, what does this really mean? If you want to translate all of these numbers, balance matters. If you parent with care and autonomy, you're going to promote health physically and emotionally. So being overprotective doesn't help. Having two parents involved, absolutely when possible, is going to help. Courts aren't going to ever really solve style clashes, parenting style clashes. Judges aim to help. They really do care. But providing a fixed parenting time schedule often locks parents into rigid roles. That can lead to resentment, worse communication, and all the things that's the exact opposite of what kids actually need. You know, communication can become combat. They send particular emails or text messages, or they use our family wizard, and they're going to say, you know what, we're going to word everything appropriately. But sometimes court conflict will kill good communication. You know, you're going to use all of these communications of emails and text messages as evidence. And then every disagreement becomes emotion and you go running off to court to fight about it. The problem is when parents stop listening and they're just trying to win, no one really wins, especially not the kids. You gotta build a better co-parenting plan. Parents have got to figure out, how do we turn this conflict around and work on cooperation? Sometimes you need to get a neutral facilitator. Get a coach, get a mediator that can help parents talk through their differences. They might not be that far apart, but because of their parenting styles, may approach things differently. Parents ought to consider using some kind of structured flexibility. Yes, you may need plans in place, but you may have to include baseline schedules that allow room for adjustment, have particular standards. Number 3, go to parenting workshops. Learn about studies like this one so that you can try to make healthier decisions and reach a middle ground so that you can collaborate with your other co-parent. Have regular check-ins. Even a simple monthly meeting, you might be able to resolve issues before they explode. In your court orders, have a conflict resolution clause. so that you're using a mediator and not the courtroom where things can often go very sideways. You need to focus and make your decisions child-centered. Build your parenting time around age-appropriate independence and structures. And it may get an experienced divorce attorney involved. Attorneys do more than just draft the paperwork. They may be able to give you all of these different options to help you prevent the next fight, save you money, not create all this harm, hatred, anger. You may be able to have help spotting the parenting style conflicts early so that you can draft flexible, neutral co-parenting plans. Include a mediation clause that says you have to try this and discuss this before court is even an option. A good attorney will be able to educate you on the child development research, what's appropriate for younger kids, for teenagers, etc. Got a real life example that I want to share. Mom was super safety focused. Dad believed in independence. The kids were going to fall, they were going to get up, and they were just going to, learn to grow up. And these folks were headed to court. So traditionally, a judge is going to go, well, I'm going to give you 50-50 custody. You both seem to be good parents. You both love your kids. And off you go with no agreement. I knew that wasn't going to work long term because they had both very, very different parenting styles. And so they went to mediation and they ended up compromising. So they said, good, play dates, we're going to allow them, but we're only going to do it with trusted friends. We're going to allow the kids to roam in the neighborhood, but it had to be in a particular range, and they were going to have a phone with them that had the whatever My Search or My Find location thing on it. And that way, the overprotective parent and the loosey-goosey parent could say, good, we've got compromises that we allow the kids some autonomy, but we have some protections in place. That's the way you get somewhere when you can have a shared approval on schedules for the kids. So if you can chat about these things with a mediator or with an attorney instead of running off to court, no more legal bills. And in the end of the day, like this other couple that went to mediation, their son got structure, but it also got freedom. So yes, you need to know how to communicate. Sometimes that requires an outside source. If you're struggling with parenting style conflicts, feel free to reach out. We'd love to help you build a plan that works out for your kids and keeps you out of court. Until next time.